Hello, everybody. Jon Snedeker here with Notary Signing Agent Blueprint. Welcome to another episode of Signing Agent Secrets. We are here with a very special guest by the name of Jessica Laney. Jessica is out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, and has been a signing agent for about 1 month. So Jessica is just getting started. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, you got it. So Jessica, let's start with your story before loan signings. You're just getting started. What were you doing before you even sort of found out about this career?
So, this past year, we have been moving a lot because of my husband's contract work. And so I have a small health coaching business on the side that I do from home, but I've also been having to wait tables to supplement my income. So I
Sure.
was kind of just hustling, trying to make extra money waiting tables and build up my health coaching career as we kept moving.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what I've been doing. And then I came across notary signing as a career. My sister's actually a real estate agent in North Carolina.
Fantastic.
And yeah, and so I saw how lucrative her business could be and the real estate business, but I didn't necessarily want to, go through all that and get into that. But I saw the potential in becoming a notary signing agent.
Hmm.
So that's when I decided to look into your course.
Definitely. There's a lot of people fall into this opportunity from all different types of backgrounds. One of the main ones, and we had one on the show last week, was just the whole side hustle arena. It's a whole area where
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of side hustles out there, a lot of jobs to just simply make ends meet. And the signing agent opportunity is one where it just allows you to have a easy light work, paperwork type of job, but you're able to make so much in such a little time just because of how niche it is, right?
Right.
And so that's really cool. So what sort of was the aha moment that you had that really made it click? Was it that you saw that real estate business, or was there any particular, like, this is the one moment that's like, you know what, I'm doing it?
Yeah, so I had been looking for jobs online because I hate waiting tables and I can't wait to be out of that. But with the career that I have, trying to build up a health coaching clientele,
Yep.
that is an easy, flexible job to have. You can
Yep.
make good money fast and it's very flexible. So, and you don't really have a business. You get to leave work at work. That's
Right.
what I like about it. So when I heard about this job and your course, I was just like, that's it. That's what else I can do to supplement my income and then be able to stop waiting tables. I can work for
Sure.
myself. I can have a flexible schedule when I want, where I want, this local area. So I just thought it was the perfect mix of everything I had already been looking for.
Hmm.
And I knew that I looked and researched your course and I was like, with those tools, I can do this. And
Sure.
so I just got excited about it and went for it.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the hours with your health coaching business? Is that something where you get to choose your hours every single day? Like, what kind of parameters do you have, if any, with your maybe hourly upkeep that you have to sort of do for the health business? Is it a
Yeah.
minimum hours per week? Is it per day? Can you maybe just describe that just a little bit, and we could talk about how to fit in loan closing, because everyone's got a different schedule, right? Everybody. And
Right.
when I started, I say it literally took me, I had some really great wisdom from a gentleman named Ralston. And he said it takes you 5 minutes to determine when you can fit, closings in your weekly schedule. You do it weekly, not
Hmm.
so much daily. But can you talk about your parameters with the health business, and then we'll sort of layer right into the loan signings,
Yeah.
integrating that?
So I do pick my own hours. There's no minimum or anything, but because of clients that I already have, I do one-on-one phone sessions with
Okay.
them. So I already have, and I don't need to change that around. I already have those slots that are filled. So for example, Tuesday mornings and Tuesday afternoons, I have clients. So that I would not take closings, before like 3 o'clock on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then Thursdays also. So I'm basically open. I don't have kids yet. So I have the whole week. I'm open on weekends. So
Mhm. Sure.
because of that, I don't like to say, oh, I could not do this day, this day, this day, so I'm going to make sure to be available on the weekends for loan
Yeah.
signings because I am already saying no to 2 weekday mornings. So no, I build my own schedule. I can definitely do that. And I
Right.
just, now when I get new health coaching clients, I'm going to make sure to squeeze them in on those 2 mornings so that
Very
I can
smart.
continue to be available Monday, Wednesday, Friday for loan signings.
Yeah, do what you can to keep those blocks together. If you're doing the calls, be in one area, do all the calls for if you can, for your clients. But you have
Mm-hmm.
that unique ability to choose your hours for that health business, which makes it easier, quite frankly, than people that are not able to. We have a lot of nurses that do, just they get their tomorrow schedule today, right? And so they
Mm-hmm.
don't know what their week essentially looks like. But your
Yes.
ability to carve out your week, pick the time frames that you're going to have those calls with people. What does efficiency look like for you? It's, well, hey, Tuesdays are my call day with maybe everybody, and then you have 5 other days: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for closings.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that many that happen on Sunday, but they do roll through. But that's fantastic that you're able to pick your schedule. And even for the people that are not able to pick their schedule, let's say that you got your weekly schedule and it was just sort of determined for you, because a lot of people listening, that's maybe more likely the case. What you really need to do is block time for your availability for closings. You put that in your your phone calendar. That way when a company calls you, you can simply look at it and know that your time is sort of blocked for that.
Right.
You have that unique ability that with your opportunity to sort of pick your times for both. I mean, that's perfect. It doesn't get any better than that, right? But there are a lot of people that are not as fortunate for that. So that's really great that you're able to sort of integrate that in. You've already thought about not only the days that you're available, but the hours. And once you sort of iron that out, it doesn't take more than, it took me about 5 minutes. I had a more sort of 9 to 5 job when I got started, but everybody's different. We have people
Mm-hmm.
that talk about, hey, I work sort of 10 to 7 or something like that. It's like, well, there's a lot of, 9 o'clock closings where you can just do that, sneak in at 8:45, you're out of there at 9:15, and you're still early to work for 10. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
opportunities with that. So that's really great. You're able to pick your schedule. So that flexibility is what people die for or live for, not die
Right.
for. And so right now you told me you're doing signings part time. You're just getting started. So and the next question is really, how are you making it work in your schedule? We're really just touched base on that. It's part time for now. Now, would you ever transition into this full time, or is this something that you really enjoy? Maybe the health business that you've been building on the side. What are your maybe thoughts on that? Do you have any goals for that possibly yet, or?
So yeah, my husband and I have actually talked about that a lot. Depending on how this goes, I'm definitely open to doing it full time. And then also my sister and I in the future, at some point want to perhaps live in the same state again. And so we've talked about kind of joining forces together if we're in the same industry. So
Mhm.
it's definitely something that if I enjoy and do well in, that I would be open to doing full time. I love health coaching just because I love seeing other people's results, and I love that it keeps
Sure.
me on track. So like I get to stay like, accountable. So
Absolutely.
if that fell to the side and I was still holding myself accountable, I was still prominent in my own life, I would still appreciate it and be okay with, it being part-time and notary signing being full-time.
Right. And this job is very flexible where, depending on how well you build your business, how long, I mean, it can't be done in a week, right? But the idea is you sort of you make it, right? And so whatever you choose, you choose your future with who you work with, how often you want to work, how many hours you want to put in on a weekly basis. And
Right.
it's something that corporate doesn't really allow you to carve out your future to a certain degree. They have a lot of caps involved, and hourly requirements and things of that nature. But the signing agent with that flexibility is you can work 0 hours per week up to as many as you want. I've had many 15-hour days, 12-hour days in this business, just because I not only had the time, but it was just allows you to do so much else in addition to the job during the week if you could just cram in your work hours in
Right.
1 or 2 days versus 6 essentially. So you're just getting started. Did you have any income goals at all, or not so much just yet? Because everyone finds this business and says, you know what, can do pretty well in a short amount of time. Some people have goals and some people don't. What's your take on that?
So right now, my immediate short-term goal is to be able to quit waiting tables. And
Okay.
so to do that, I'm looking for, depending on the job and how much you make off each job, I'm just looking for 3 to 5 signings a week right now.
Great.
So basically about $500 a week, and I
Hmm.
would be okay with not waiting tables anymore and just focusing on this.
Right.
Um, so that's what I'm looking for right now for a short term.
Now, if you can juggle two things instead of three, it's going to allow you to sort of maximize your time and put your time into those two
Right.
projects instead of three, not feel spread out so thin. You only have so many hours just like everybody else, so the more that you can sort of concentrate those hours into
Yes.
just maximizing your efficiency and your effectiveness, and you sort of do that through the very simple activities every day, making phone calls, taking jobs, going to signings. You'll build up your not just your confidence, just you build up your repetition so you're more comfortable, and you say, you know what, I can. As time goes on, you'll learn to become more efficient with your time, especially with loan signings, because it's such a unique
Hmm.
thing where they don't come to you, you have to go to them, and so you sort of learn to take jobs closer to home, and you start to learn to only take jobs for a certain amount that's quote unquote worth your time, depending on what's needed. And so as time builds, you'll be able to just continue to choose specifically which orders you want to work on closer to home for a certain pay. And then the more effective you get with that, will allow you to pivot out of that the
Hmm.
waiting job. There's no bad jobs out there, but essentially you get to choose your future, right? And so it's like, well, what do you want to do? Let's get you to work on the jobs that you want to do, not the ones that you essentially don't want to do so much. So that's fantastic that you do have goals. They're very realistic goals, 3 to 5 signings, very, very realistic every week. I've had that as daily goals, but everybody's goals are
Yeah,
different. There's no right or wrong. That's
that's
what's
good
great
to
about this
hear.
business. And so you are just getting started, and as Jessica mentioned, you have been through our program. Um, do you think that anyone can do this job to sign paperwork, or what sort of traits are needed beforehand to be a loan signing agent? So you're sort of fresh, you got a fresh perspective, you're just getting started. I've gotten people sort of answer both ways, but what's your take on this job? It is just paperwork, but there's a little bit of a back end to it. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So my opinion on that is that with your course, I don't know, I've never tried to do it without your course. So, but I
Right.
think that anyone can do the actual job of walking in, saying hello, looking at an ID, and signing the paperwork. But to get those jobs takes a lot of hustle on your part. And like, I really like that you mentioned this in your course, because it's very important, and a lot of people don't mention it, is your own personal mindset and your own drive for it and belief in yourself. So
Hmm.
that's the second half, I think, getting the jobs. And that's what
Absolutely.
I don't think everyone can do. I mean, everyone has the power to do it, but
Right. And you
not
need to know
everyone.
the know-how.
Yeah. And I love personal development. I do a lot of it. So, cause I am already an entrepreneur. So
Right.
yeah, the job itself, anyone could do. So as long as you can just push yourself and go out and talk to people and network and make those connections and get the jobs, then yes.
Anybody can make a phone call, right? It's
Hmm.
not a hard cut requirement. You don't need this long laundry list of characteristics before you do this job, and
Right.
you're spot on with that. I mean, guys, it's look at their driver's license, make sure they are who they are, and show them where to sign and date. It's not that hard. It's really not. The whole back end to it is the hustle piece, and that's Jessica. If I could sum up on one word why I've done almost 10,000 signings, it's hustle. It's just show up every day, rain or shine, right? You've been an entrepreneur, you know the feeling of just making it happen, do whatever it takes kind of thing. There's a couple of
Hmm.
themes there. And then right, that whole personal, you guys in our program, we don't do these calls to really plug our program, but as you brought it up, we have one full chapter of 12 that's completely dedicated to personal development. mastering the mind, mastering your fears. I've been through some very expensive higher level programs, and I've really just integrated that into our program because the notary information is just not enough to push you to the level that people want to succeed. It'll help you for sure, but that discipline and all those extra sort of characteristics of mastering your fears. And everyone has some sort of fears: the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of what other people think. And so we address those fears and how to sort of work with them, just for people to get out of their comfort zone a little bit and talk about that. So I'm glad that you brought that up. A lot of people say and give us compliments in that, because we're so much more than just like a notary course or a signing agent course. We genuinely care about people's success. That's why it's out there. And that sort of personal development chapter, along with the items in our mentorship group, we have additional sort of documents and files in there to help keep people on track personally and professionally, and sort of get that become well-rounded, because that's obviously, you don't want to have just this huge missing link in your
Right.
career, because the personal part of it is a big portion of it when it comes to your success, in my opinion. So thank you so much for bringing that up. We do get some compliments in that from time to time for sure. And so, Jessica, can you paint a picture about what success looks like to you for loan signings? Everybody's different. Some people have income goals, some people have schedule goals, or full-time, part-time, but can you paint a picture of like exactly what it looks like for you, maybe as far as how you integrate that into your, maybe 3 or 4 months from now? What does perfection
Yeah.
look like with loan signings?
So for me to be successful in loan signing, it would mean that I was working with a handful of title companies that we had a relationship, that they knew me like personally. And so they always referred me, and it was steady jobs of like 5 to 7 signings a week. Like
Mhm.
that's all I asked. Like I would feel like I was successful if it was repeat business and I knew I was doing well for them, and they kept calling me, so that I could
Right.
just be making enough money to do this and my health coaching on the side. But just the fact that I was getting referrals and working with people and had relationships, and it was consistent work, and I would feel like I was successful in
Absolutely. And I want to talk about something that it's really a misconception in this business. And a lot of the blogs and websites and forums and Facebook groups talk about, signing up with 100 companies. It's a horrible idea, horrible idea. And let me explain specifically why. If you don't know, not you, Jessica, but for the people out there that just are not sure why, you're going to be a nobody to 100 people. You want to be a somebody to 10 to 15 clients at the most. You know what I mean? You don't need, the most I've ever had was about 10 clients. I usually say about 6 to 7 is the sweet spot personally, because you want that dependability factor. You don't get that from being with 100 people. 100 people can't depend on you, because you're not going to be able to be everywhere, right? But if 6 to 7 people depend on you on a regular basis, they're counting on you. So when they call you, they want you to pick up that phone. And so the less clients that you work with, you're a somebody to them. You're not a nobody to 100 people. And so you don't need a lot of clients to be successful in this business. You need the right clients, and clients that will
it.
depend on you as you talk to. And that's fantastic. Those are very realistic goals, not only on an income amount, but it allows you to just integrate this opportunity really nicely into the schedule that you already have. That's something that corporate doesn't necessarily allow, or any other sort of jobs that have very difficult, hourly restrictions. It's a little bit harder to do that as well. But this is something that sounds very realistic to allow you to sort of pivot out of that the waiting job into just two instead of 3 jobs, right? Just 2, which is still
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's awesome for your goals, and painting a picture of what success looks like to you. I don't think it'll take you long to get there. I mean, how long do you think it would even take? I know you're just getting started. It's sort of a tough thing, but do you think this is a 6-month thing, a 2-month thing, or a 1-year thing? What's sort of your thoughts on the time?
So I am hopeful because, and I try to always be very positive, but I have been networking, and I have made a handful of good, solid connections, especially
Awesome.
title companies. Like one woman owns her title company, and she was
Of
excited
course.
that she finally met a signing agent in this area in
Right.
Fredericksburg, because she didn't have anyone down here, and then she wouldn't have to drive down here. So I feel hopeful that some of these connections could become relationships. And I feel like being what I just described as successful, I feel like that would take at least like 6 months, but I feel
Makes
like I
sense.
could get the 3 to 5 a week in a couple of months.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think you nailed on a huge point. That is, opportunities are created. No one's knocking on Jessica's door, literally,
Mhm.
literally. No one's like, hey, Jessica,
Right.
we need you as a signing. No, like, you get out there, you shake some hands, you build up
Mhm.
that trust factor. Guys, this is a job where you have access to the sensitive documents, the paperwork, the names, the date of birth, socials, income. I mean, people need to trust you to give you these types of orders, and that really, especially on the higher paying orders, and you obviously know how to get them because we've been through our program, but that whole relationship piece, shaking their hand, build up the comfort level, touching base with them multiple times, it can't all be done in the first interaction. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so I'm very confident that um, the connection always comes before that relationship. So you've gotten out there. You maybe, a lot of people have to get out of their comfort zone in order to even go to those meetings, right? So you didn't say, oh, I'm not sure if I should go. It's like, no, go. Right?
Mhm.
Go shake some hands, go say hello to people, develop that networking skills. It's okay for people to get out of their shell a little bit and make it happen, because opportunities are created, and those are the higher paying orders, of course. So I'm
Mhm.
confident that it will turn into something, just because you're doing all the right activities, you have goals, and you're saying yes to your future. There's nothing that seems to be holding you back at all. I mean, no, I just have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and that's how to make it happen every single day, rain or shine. And I think that 6 months, regardless of the time frame, it's has everything to do with your effort on a daily basis. And if you find yourself putting things off, probably just do whatever it takes to simply remind yourself that you have goals and a deadline and a time frame,
Yeah.
and it'll sort of keep pushing you in that right direction. Do you have any advice for people, Jessica, that maybe are on the fence about getting started, the people that are just not sure if it's for them? Any advice at all for people that are either too nervous or too fearful, or just not sure how to really fit it in their schedule? Anything at all you might be able to leave them with as far as guidance or wisdom or anything whatsoever?
Yeah. I come across a lot of entrepreneurs on social media. And so I know from what we've all seen on social media, that this working for yourself, um, working on the side, having a flexible business so you can be home with your kids or whatever the case may be,
Sure.
is in such high demand. Like everyone, a lot of people want that. And if you're looking for that and you don't know what to get into, but you like business and you like this world, maybe real estate or even just uh, professional, but you think that the only way to do a side hustle is network marketing or something, this
Hmm.
is a very professional, great thing to get into that gives you everything that you are looking for. If you're looking to work for yourself and be able to be home a lot, and uh, not and have a flexible schedule, like we were talking about, this is a very, very, I think, stable thing to get into. And with John's course, you will, and he's never mentioned that I need to say anything about the course, by the way. But on
Nice
this,
play with that. That's very true.
yeah, no, with that course, I think you have everything you need to do the job. You just have to find it in yourself to be successful.
Absolutely. And a lot of people do want that flexibility too. And thank you for the kind words. We do appreciate that. What are people looking for? Well, obviously that flexibility is important to them, but why? Right? They have a life, they have a spouse, they have kids, they have things that they need to take care of. And so everyone needs to do something with their career or their job, or, making some sort of money. The signing agent opportunity is one that allows virtually anybody, like we said, it's just a paperwork job. There's a whole back end to it, but just to be able to make $100 in a half hour sitting with someone, or you don't need to work 8 hours for that. You can go do a signing
Mhm.
in a half hour, maybe 45 minutes if it takes a little bit longer. And you can do it at 9 o'clock. And I've done signings where signing at 9, I'm home at 10 in the morning. It's like, no, I'm going to do several other signings that day. But the point is, for the people that are looking for that flexibility, if you just want to do one a day, there's no requirement. There's no
Mhm.
saying you have to do a certain amount. That alone is one of the coolest parts about this business, is that there's no requirements. You get to pick your schedule, and the ability to make decent to really good money is very realistic. The people that struggle in this business, because there are people that struggle, are the ones that just, they don't know how to pull it all together. They say, oh, it's just paperwork, anybody can do it, and they're certainly right, but there's a whole back end of getting the orders, developing those
Right.
relationships, making sure you're being top of mind on your clients for your area. And so that's really what we specialize in, to help just pull everything together so people feel like they can really, really make it happen for themselves. But the whole gig economy, right? I talk about in one of our free trainings, since 2008, the whole gig economy thing, companies don't want to pay someone to sit there for 8 hours. They want to pay for only when they need something, right? And so that
Mhm.
whole gig economy, long-term contracted positions that they regularly rely on people to be there for them, but they only want to pay for when they need it. So it's like,
Yeah.
instead of sitting there for 8 hours, you're sort of sitting there for half hour, sitting there for half hour, sitting there for half hour.
Yeah.
And the gig economy is real. There's like 55 million people in America that are in the gig economy. This is a huge movement. And in the past 10 years, it's really, really taken off, based on not just the companies restructuring and things like that, but it allows them to stay afloat, continue to operate, and also still hire people, but hire in a way that makes sense for everybody. So the people get
Mhm.
like us, get that flexibility. We get to choose our schedule. And on the flip side, it sort of saves them money as well. So it's a really win-win for everybody. And that's really great that you talked about how entrepreneurs, especially on social media, it's pretty clear what everyone wants. Everyone wants that freedom,
Yeah.
and not all jobs provide it, but the signing agent one does. So we appreciate that. It's really great information. Do we miss anything, Jessica? Is there anything else that you wanted to go over?
No. Mm-mm.
Pretty cool. Well, we really appreciate you being here. Guys, be sure to hire Jessica Laney. She's out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. And if you're watching right now, be sure to like and share this video. If you know someone that's looking to get started, or looking to change positions, or change the type of work that they do, or even just supplement their income. If you are looking to boost your confidence and income, we do have an entirely free 90-minute training right on our website, notarysigningagentblueprint.com. It'll specifically tell you how I started without any time, money, or experience, and how I got to almost 10,000 closings over my years. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.